What is the story of the weekend of rugby we just watched in the United Rugby Championship? Here are my takeaways for round 5, and I would say the stories are, number 1, first half demolition jobs. We saw a few of them. Number 2, bounce backs from teams that have been struggling, and drop-offs from teams that you expect more from. And overall, I think it's probably fair to say, not as competitive a weekend of rugby than we probably expected, but there were some absolute belters. Lots to talk about, and that's what I'm going to do right here. My takeaways from round 5, yours in the comments down below. I would love it if I would earn your subscription and help me spread the word about how good this competition is by dropping a little thumbs up on the video as well. So there's only one place to start, isn't there? Let's go to Croke Park, and what an occasion, and well done to Leinster and Munster, Irish rugby in general, and the URC for 82,300 people in a sellout at Croke Park. Not a knockout game, just an inter-pro match between two great rivals. 82,300, that is phenomenal. I don't know, in fact, let me ask the question. Is there any other domestic club match in the world that could get that turnout? Just trying to think in France. Toulouse, Bordeaux, maybe, but if it was in, but there's no stadium that big in France, is there? Honestly, I'm not sure there is. I don't know. Is there a stadium big enough that could host Stormers and Bulls? And would that sell out to the same degree? Anyway, bottom line is, amazing occasion, well done. As it wasn't quite the spectacle that we hoped it would be. Wasn't quite as close as it could have been. Certainly if Munster had been awake from minute 1, because they looked good later on. Equally, Leinster may well be sat back going, why did we play so well in the opening quarter and not play quite as well in the rest of the game? But the game was done. And I said one of the stories of this weekend is first half demolition jobs. Absolutely, we saw that. 26 points to 5 up and game over at half time. Munster did well to stem the tide and keep Leinster scoreless in the second half and win the second half of the match. They might be able to take a positive out of that. But really, there was a golfing class between these two teams, and Leinster, 4 wins from 4, looked very, very good. Some of their big players in that first 20 minutes, it was James Lowe, Caelan Doris and Hugo Keenan scoring the tries. This guy, Ragnar, the Viking son of Sneeman, plucking the ball out of the air like it was a grape or something. His hands are that big, scoring a try as well. He's already played just about as much for Leinster as he did his entire time in Munster. He was the pantomime villain, getting booed and cheered in equal measure. What a place and what an occasion to play your first game against your old club. Munster may feel aggrieved at a couple of decisions not going their way, but really it was never going to change the result. They were asleep at the wheel in the first 20 minutes, and Leinster looked really good. Kieran Frawley, in particular, playing flat to the line, releasing the strike runners. Thought he did a lovely job. From Ireland's perspective, I'd say the front row situation, not great for them. They don't seem to have a lot of depth at prop. There's obviously hooker worries with injuries at the moment. Depth is a concern. No such worries in the rest of the scrum, and the back line looks pretty good. Munster's attack was actually quite good without the cutting edge to finish, and Leinster's defence looked really good in this game. If Leinster can put an 80-minute performance together, they're going to be a match for anybody in the world. What else would I say about this? Caelan Doris, man alive, is this guy playing some good rugby? He's a contender for World Player of the Year 2024. Now it's going to be a tough job for him to oust Peter Steph-Toy, Oxenchae, but there are 3 or 4, or in some cases 5 matches still to play in about a month's time. And if Caelan Doris absolutely tears it up like he has been this year, he is a contender. That guy is playing incredible rugby. I'd like to talk about more of the game as far as this one goes, but like I said, it was a first half blitz by Leinster, which kind of means that less of a talking point. I'm just looking at what you take away from it. Jamie Osborne, I like the look of him a lot for Leinster in that midfield. And Robbie Henshaw, I mean, they've got an embarrassment of riches there, but Jamie Osborne and Kieran Frawley, they look legit. In terms of first half demolition jobs, we saw another one for the Bulls, who came through 29 points to 19 despite discipline issues. A red card, David Creel here. I don't know, what did you think of that? I thought maybe a little harsh, perhaps. You know what, accidents happen in a game, and rugby is a violent sport, and we shouldn't try and get that completely out of the game, but whatever. As long as it's consistent, then I can kind of deal with it. But a red and 2 yellows in that second half, it was almost like the Bulls were going, all right, we've got this game won, let's just try and make it a bit harder for ourselves, give our defence a workout to get us ready for tougher games ahead, which they are definitely going to have, because Ospreys, I don't know what's happened to them, but Toby Booth, their head coach, is leaving. He announced that before the season started. There's obviously some stuff going on behind the scenes, I don't know what, but there seems to be a bit of instability and not the same standards that they had last year. Toby Booth got them to a really good place. I mean, Jack Morgan, captain, tried as hard as he could, but he didn't have enough support from the Ospreys players around him. And yeah, I don't know. Don't quite know what to make of Ospreys. I know what I make of Cameron Hanekom. The guy's a freak. What an athlete. Some of his turnovers were amazing. I did love the fact he was playing in Wales, and they love to play on the fact he's a Welsh qualified player. Wales wishes. He is going to be wearing green and gold very, very soon. Elric Lowe looks class as well. Villy LaRue is so good. Bulls, and again, I've picked this game after talking about Leinster. They look to be the 2 standout teams for me at this particular stage, Leinster and the Bulls. Albeit Bulls have played 3 games, but yeah, look very, very good. And the champions, another job done in the first half. 33 points to 3 against Zebre. I'm going to be honest, I watched about 10 minutes of this and then sort of thought, well, I know how this is going, I'm not going to bother. I was away for the weekend, which is why there isn't a video until today. I was seeing some friends, staying out in the middle of nowhere, so I was using what little data I was able to get on my phone to watch a bit of rugby. But yeah, this is the issue with the URC. There are some amazing occasions and matches, Leinster Munster being one of them. Glasgow Zebre, it's hard to get excited about that. Zebre are not good. They are basically a sort of... Benetton's like the Italy A team and Zebre's the B team, isn't it? And that's just how it's going to be for them. So they'll be occasionally competitive, and I don't want to be unkind because they're doing their best. Let me focus on the positives. Glasgow, Hugh Jones is damn good, isn't he? What a good player. He's got to be a contender for a Lions tour spot. If he can transfer that rugby that he's playing for Glasgow into the Scotland jersey, then he's got a very, very good chance, because he is great. And Glasgow, after sort of up and down performances, they look to have a little bit of something back at Scotstoun in front of their own crowd. Now, I said one of the stories was smash and grabs, first half demolition jobs. Talked about those. Glasgow, Bulls, Leinster, 3 of the stronger teams in the competition. I also said the other stories were bounce backs and drop-offs. And my goodness me, didn't we see both of those when Benetton played against the Sharks? 38 points to 10 for Benetton. And I'll come to Benetton in a minute, but Sharks, what on earth? That was abject. That was like last season. That was meant to be in the past, wasn't it? I don't know. I thought they turned a corner. What's going on? Mentally a bit fragile? Having too much fun travelling in Venice? I don't know. They're just hot and cold to a degree that they shouldn't be. Yes, they're missing some box, and they're going to be better when Eben Etzebeth is back, when Oxenche is back, and when those other superstars are back. But they had Trevor Nakane, they had both the Hendrickses, they had Andre Esterhazen, they had Jenkins, they had Mchunu. They've got really, really good players. Yes, not as good in some areas as when they have all of their players available, but they just look toothless. And that says to me that it's psychological. This is top 2 inches. And is this Plumtree not able to get everyone on the same page? Is this, I don't know, a dynamic within the group? I don't know what the case is, but you've got to go to Benetton. And I'm not saying you go to Benetton and win, but you have to go to Benetton and put in a better performance than that. Benetton's defence, though, was really, really good. Huge pressure they applied from that. And slick attacks, shown by the fact that their back 3 scored all 5 of Benetton's tries. Look at the kit clash, though. Can we just talk about that for a second? How on earth does a referee let that happen with the kits? Come on. which was, yeah, didn't it made it less fun to watch than it should have been. Fair play Benetton though. Yeah, it's good to see them bounce back because they were under pressure and they looked a bit shaky at the start of the season, but in front of their own fans, they're back. And the same goes in terms of bounce backs and drop-offs. Edinburgh Stormers, a beat down by Edinburgh and a beat up of the Stormers. There's a question. Put it in the comments down below. Who was worse, the Stormers or the Sharks? It's actually quite a hard one to assess, isn't it? Edinburgh have woken up. Stormers have gone to sleep. Is that the story of this game? I can't quite get my head around it. So I was worried about Edinburgh. It looked to me like maybe the coach, in the way I'm talking about with Plumtree, is there an issue or what? I don't think that is the case with Sharks. I was thinking the same thing with Edinburgh. You've got really good players just not going out and delivering on the road. Well, back in front of their own fans, Edinburgh absolutely delivered. And the Stormers, you would expect more from them than that. I guess one of the takeaways from this is, and it's one of the things I love about rugby, you need to have the big, nasty guys up front in order to be able to have the guys behind do their job. You cannot have one and not the other. And Stormers are not ticking the box up front at the minute. You can have all the rapid, fast, skillful backs you want. If you do not have the ability to win the ball, keep the ball and get the ball back and just bully and batter your opponents a bit, rough them up every now and again, you're not going to win rugby games. And we saw that. Edinburgh had more of that than Stormers. Yes, again, Stormers are going to get players back. But even the players you expect to be really good were not great. Damien Phillemser looked average. Ben Jason Dixon didn't look like a guy that was just tearing it up with the box only a matter of weeks ago. Yeah. I don't know. For the Stormers, is this one of those games where you just throw the game tape away and never ever talk about it again? Or actually, should you sit the players down, like Clockwork Orange style, fix their eyes open so they have to look at it and confront the fact that you put in that performance and you should be better than that. As for Edinburgh, Ben Muncaster looks class. It was nice to see Duan and Darcy Graham getting their hands on the ball again. And really, it wasn't a first half blitz, but it was a bit of a blitz. In two moments, there was those two periods where Edinburgh scored and then scored again in the first half and the second half, 18 and 21 minutes and 58 and 62 minutes. So those moments, about a quarter and 3/4 of the way into the match, they just ended the contest. Some strange decisions. I do think, and I'm trying to be fair and objective here, I do think, as I've said before, the English Premiership has the best referees in the world. Overall, they're far from perfect. None of them are. Top 14's pretty good. URC, I don't know about... I've just got question marks over the standard across the board, but it wouldn't have changed any of the results. Certainly, Stormers were never going to win that, whatever decisions you flip around. So, here's a game that was. So we've had a couple of absolute beatdowns. Edinburgh smashing Stormers and Benetton smashing the Sharks. There were some close games, this being one of them. Ulster Connacht, a class match. The most competitive game of the weekend. And yeah, it was brilliant. This is the kind of intensity, well, not the intensity, this is the kind of scoreline you were hoping you might see in the Leinster-Munster game, or certainly I was as a neutral. This was an absolute belter. 32 points to 27 for Ulster. Messy at times, but Ulster showing a lot of heart and a lot of steel. And actually, in the past, how many times have you seen Ulster be ahead and lose it in the last quarter of a game? Here, they managed to come back and win it in the last quarter of a game. For that reason as well, Connacht will feel that a few blunders, a few poor decisions, a silly red card, compounded bad decisions, let that game slip away when they really should have won. And a win away in Ulster would have been a fantastic result. But I tell you what, the games between these two teams are always brilliant. And I've never been to Galway, but I would go and watch a game there because you're almost guaranteed when Ulster come to town, that's going to be fun. And it's going to be close and tight and stressful to watch, even if you're a neutral. Connacht will feel that one got away. Ulster, with their youngsters, they'll be very happy with that. And we also had the Lions. Oh, yeah, the Lions away in Dragons. Scrappy game. It wasn't quite the all over wild attack we've seen from Lions, but I do love the shapes they get into and the intent that they have to play. It didn't all click, but they did enough to win. A plucky defeat from a Welsh team. We're going to hear that a lot more. But I will say overall, it does feel like the standard of the Welsh teams as a four has gone up. Overall, they're more competitive, a little bit tougher. And yeah, I mean, it's been embarrassing for Dragons in recent years. There were some embarrassing moments in this game, but overall, they look much more competitive than they have done. They do need a 10. Lions have got to fill their boots with this tour, with the fixtures that they've got. They played against Dragons, got the win, great. They play against Zebra, they have to get the win because then it gets a whole lot tougher for Lions. And the rubber's going to meet the road when they go to Leinster. And then I think some pretty good teams are going to be heading out to South Africa to play them there. So it's an interesting few weeks for the Lions. Are they legit? Are they the real deal? Can they play their type of attacking rugby when other defences that are a lot better manage to stop them doing it? Or can they still keep that shape and keep that movement? We're going to wait and see. One thing I did like, I thought the Dragons crowd were really good fun. Singing He Knocked It On to the tune of the French Marseillaise national anthem was lots of fun. And there were quite a lot of knock-ons as well. And finally, Cardiff against Scarlets. This one, another competitive game, a bit like Ulster Connacht, an inter-country derby match. And I've been saying that because of the nature of the URC and the way it's structured, if you're a good Welsh team, you could get 6 wins against the other 3 teams because you play every one of your own country teams home and away, whereas you play every other team home or away. But yeah, you could play against some teams. But as it is, like I say, the standard overall with the 4 Welsh teams has gone up. That means Cardiff beat Scarlets 2 weeks ago, 24 points to 19, and now with an almost identical score, 25 to 19, Scarlets beat Cardiff in Cardiff. Good crowd, good game, entertaining. A bit of lack of composure for Scarlets at times. For Cardiff, sorry, at times. Scarlets down to 13 men. Cardiff couldn't make that count and therefore didn't deserve to win. But a really good win for Scarlets, their first win of the season, which means every single team in the URC has got 1 win. Stormers down there at the bottom with Zebra, with Sharks, with Scarlets. And at the top, there are 3 teams which are unbeaten. And that is Leinster, 4 from 4. And then the Bulls and the Lions are 3 from 3. So it's interesting the fact you've got the 4 South African teams at the very top and the very bottom. Kind of a sprinkling of teams from other countries as you go down. So what did we have? 2 Inter-Pro matches in Ireland, so 2 wins for Irish teams, 2 losses, 2 wins for Scottish teams, a win for an Italian team, and then it was 1 win for a Welsh team, and 2-2 for the South Africans. Not quite as entertaining. It wasn't entertaining. Not quite as competitive as I wanted that weekend to be. But those are just some thoughts following the weekend. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Looking forward to round 6 already, and it'll be here before you know it. And I'll have videos coming on the channel to look over that one. Tell me what you think, what you made of it, what you enjoyed, what you didn't, what you thought of what I had to say, what you think on yourself in the comments down below. Keep looking back on the channel for more content, which will be coming soon. See you on the next one.